SoundHound AI delivering a narrower than expected loss for the third quarter and topping revenue expectations. The company also lifted its revenue outlook as it broadens its target markets. The CEO of the company of SoundHound AI, Keyvan Mohajer, is joining us now to discuss this and what's going on with the company more broadly. Keyvan, thank you so much for being here. We've been looking through the numbers, and we've also been looking at the stock reaction that we saw today. Now, a couple of things like your margins deteriorated a little bit year over year, but what are you thinking as you look at that reaction today?
Thank you for having me. We had a great quarter. We are really proud of our results. It was a record quarter. It was a comfortable beat and raise. We crossed revenue 25 million for the first time. That's up 89% year over year. We also entered some new verticals that we are really excited about. I think, we think long term, and if you look at, the last 5 days, the stock has gone up, and, if you look at the whole year, we are up almost 3x. I think there's a lot of good material in our remarks that people have to digest, so we are going to wait and see, how the reaction pans out. But on your comment about the gross margin and so on, so we had some acquisitions, and there are some short-term temporary impacts on our gross margin and costs. For example, the companies we bought, they have their own clouds. We have our own cloud, so there's some duplicate costs there. They usually use the third-party APIs for AI models. SoundHound has its own AI models, so once we migrate those, we should get the cost saving and also improving quality. So those should improve over time.
One thing, Keyvan, you all talked about was how you continue diversifying your customer base. Talk to us about that trend and also just how you're allocating resources there.
We spent more than 10 years just in R&D, so build our own AI models and voice recognition and in dozens of languages. And then we started monetizing it. First, we were very big in automotive, and then we went to AI customer service. And our vision was always to diversify. So when we went to AI customer service, we said, let's go to restaurants first. And we said, restaurants to us are what books were to Amazon. So Amazon was a bookstore, and then now they sell everything. So we want to be in all the enterprise brands. So we are in millions of cars, we are in millions of TVs. We are the #1, I believe, AI leader in AI for restaurants. But now we are in healthcare, we are in insurance, we are in financial institutions, we are in governments, we are in retail. And some of that has been organic growth, and some of it has been through our acquisitions that have accelerated. And that has been a big improvement, because if you look at year over year, we used to be 90% automotive. Now we are in under 25%. Also, customer concentration has improved. We used to be 72% last year, came from one customer, and that was an area of weakness. But this year we had only 12% was the largest customer.
And Keyvan, just to dig a little specific here, give us some examples of how exactly your technology is being used by some of this expanding client base.
So we power devices, and we power the customer service for businesses. For devices, think about cars and TVs, and eventually all IoT devices. We think people will ultimately prefer to speak to devices. We are familiar with that in automotive, because when we are driving, we don't want to take our eyes off the road. But we think eventually all the IoT devices will have, all they need is a microphone and a partner like SoundHound. And then the preferred interface becomes voice and conversation. So we provide this branded digital assistant to devices, and that's one pillar of our business. The second pillar is AI agents for customer service. So when you call a restaurant to place an order, our AI picks up the phone when you go to a drive-through. Instead of talking to a very busy person who's also making the food, and you talk to our AI. And we also omni-channel, so mobile apps, chatbots, and so on. We think AI agent for customer service is really the biggest near-term opportunity for generative AI, and SoundHound plays a big role in that.
In terms of that speech recognition, Keyvan, you have that technology actually in-house. I'm just curious, how does it actually compare and contrast to what big tech offers?
Yeah, actually, there are very few companies have their own speech recognition in-house, and some people don't know that because there are APIs out there. But the source of the technology is only a handful of companies, and SoundHound is one. So we're very proud to have our own speech recognition that we've developed over 2 decades in dozens of languages. We've trained it on millions of hours of audio with billions of real queries. We benchmark that against the big tech APIs, and we consistently beat them in accuracy and speed.
Keyvan, I also want to ask you sort of the latest in our continuing dialogue about the effect of AI on the workforce. And we got some really interesting comments on this point from Arvind Krishna, of course, the CEO of IBM. He spoke at our Yahoo Finance Invest conference yesterday, interviewed by our Shauna Smith. And I want to play for you what he said about this issue.
Birth rates have come down. If birth rates have come down, there is going to be a lack of people on the globe, put aside the US. So we all have to learn how to leverage technology to do some of the jobs that people used to do in the past. I think there's no way around that.
So I think he was trying to sort of, debunk this idea that AI is taking people's jobs. He says, with birth rates going down, we need AI to do some of these jobs. I'm just curious what you think about that.
I think there's going to be a disruption, but I think it's going to be net positive. So there's going to be more work created. I think we are going to be the pilots. People talk about co-pilots, and then so what's going to happen to humans? We are going to be pilots, right? So what happened to the Industrial Revolution? We used to work in farms, and then the machines came, and now we drive those machines. Now the AI is the machine. So people are going to be the pilots of the AI to do good things. I think that's great.
Keyvan, always a pleasure to have you on the show, sir. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.